Greetings, citizens of the internet! You can call me Nitro Indigo, and welcome back to my extremely riveting Let's Play of Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team. In the last episode, Blastoise, Octillery and Golem returned from Magma Cavern having been defeated by Groudon. And in this episode, we're going to prepare to go to Magma Cavern to take on Groudon ourselves. But first, we need to do some preparations, as I just said. First of all, I am not going to bring Dismukes today, because, as I said in the previous episode, there's mainly ground types in Magma Cavern, which Dismukes is weak to. So instead, I think I'm going to take Batman. You know, to be honest, I was kind of hoping that, like, at least one member of my team would become really popular. Probably Dismuke. Oh, I have gummies. I didn't know that. A blue and a red one. I'll give you the blue one because you're ground type and Pokemon like gummies that they're weak to. Not as much as their own type, but still. So, and he got some special attack raise, even though he doesn't really know any special moves. But anyway, I was saying, I was hoping that, like, at least one member of my team become really popular and become, like, a meme or something. But unfortunately, I think that was just me being wishful thinking because I just don't have that Sugar Conroy power. And let's talk to all the locals because why not? Several rescue teams have already left for the Magma Cavern. And so I did have an article. Indigo, you guys take care too. What's it like, this Magma Cavern? This is starting to sound like Tessellating Hexagons' Charlie voice, not to be confused with another character named Charlie who I mentioned in on-screen decks in a previous video when I was doing my Lombre voice. It was teeming with tough Pokemon, that's for sure. I'm strong against fire, but that place is special. Well, fire and water are both special types in this generation, so... Oi, you lot shouldn't go. The Magma Cavern is alive with flames. You'll be burned up. We can't do that. We are a rescue team too. We can't stand by idly. Okay, like, was he supposed to sound like... I think my shifty voice was supposed to sound like Batman. The Magma Cavern. Above all, there were many Fire-type Pokemon, as in, like, literally 2, I think. Fire-type Pokemon? I think they would burn me up in no time. But no, I mustn't make excuses for myself. That reminds me, there's a team in Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, Darkness and Sky. It's like one of the random background teams you see in towns. And it has like a Camerupt, a Ponyta and a Bellsprout in it. Now is the time for each and every one of us to make a stand. Bellsprout is such a funny looking Pokemon. It has a really funny voice in the anime too. Also, a very useful move to have. How do I sort my items against select? I thought I pressed select, but I not. A very useful move to have in Magma Cavern is Solar Beam because Groudon is weak to grass and it has an ability called Drought, which makes it always sunny for the entire time you spend on that floor until it gets overwritten. And in sunny weather, water type moves are weakened. Fire type moves are powered up, and the ability Chlorophyll is activated. I was about to say Leaf Guard, but I remembered that didn't exist in Gen 3. I don't like how all the fire abilities, the sun abilities, by the way, are either exclusive to grass types or they damage the user. Like, why can't we have fire types benefited by sunlight? Because it just makes it a bit annoying for me to make sun teams. And that's why I prefer to make water teams, not so because I just prefer water types. It just feels more aesthetically pleasing. I'm going to see if the purple Kecleon has the Solar Beam TM, but if he doesn't, then he doesn't. And I don't like why I'm saying solar. It just sounds a bit too formal for me. And I'm sorry I'm talking over this NPC dialogue. But I do like to see the shopkeepers like acting like part of the community. And we could get Flamethrower, but we can't afford it. And that would be a good move for Perel. I'm going to see how much money I have in the bank. Aren't you remarkable? Your money will be jealously guarded, so feel secure on your outings. That's a bit generic. I still can't afford it. I'm going to try selling those TMs then, see what I can get. I mean, yeah, Flamethrower won't be massively useful, but it would also be powered up by the sunlight. So, of course, I don't actually think you can get sun in any place other than like Groudon's boss room, because spoiler alert, there's going to be a boss room, obviously. But it's still the same type of attack bonus move with high power. Although I've seen people claim that moves in this game all have like the exact same power, basically. But I'm not sure how true that is. And of course my gravel rocks don't stack automatically, so I'm going to have to put them into storage in order to get them to do that. And then I'm going to check what the green Kecleon has, and then I'm just going to go. after possibly getting a friend area and putting my money away, obviously. 2 speed up montage. Oh, and by the way, the starters in this game that can learn Solar Beam are all 3 of the grass types and Skitty. Okay, are you all ready? All set. Okay, all set. That's what I just said. We should both get a good night's sleep. And we'll set out tomorrow. Also, I just realised that the clover in this reminds me of the Minish Cap, and I really like the design of Minish Village in that game. Yeah, to be honest, this game, I might have already mentioned this, but this game does not actually look that good for a late Game Boy Advance game. I'm in that dream again. Gardevoir. It's tomorrow, isn't it, that you take to that underground dungeon. Oh look, Japanese sentence structure that sounds really awkward and unnatural in English. Yes, they make it sound like one terrible place. I wonder if we'll be okay. Since it's mostly ground types despite the name, I'm sure you'll be fine, grass type. You will be fine, that's what I just said. I am certain that you will succeed, Indigo. You have my support. Please, go with strength. I will, thank you. Oh, I really like that portrait. I'm feeling a little braver now. I will go for it. By the way, Gardevoir, do you know? What's it like underground? Or what Groudon is like? No, I'm sorry to say, I can't envision it. Gardevoir's mouth looks a bit weird in that portrait. Okay, I thought maybe you knew something the way you said it. No, I only wanted to give you encouragement. I'm sorry. No, that's fine too. I'm so happy you tried to cheer me up. Thank you. But there is one thing that I can foresee. Huh? Your role is coming to its end, little by little. My role is ending? You became a Pokémon in order to fulfill a certain role. And that role brought you here. Now, that role is finally drawing to its conclusion. Gardevoir, tell me! What is my role? Why did I become a Pokémon? When the time comes, I think I can tell you when this adventure is finished. Don't you mean will be finished? Au revoir. The next morning... By the way, there's something I forgot to mention is that there's a map of the world over here. And it also kind of annoys me that the 3 peaks are labelled, and that's because even though Articuno does... The 3 peaks being labelled reminds me that it annoys me that Articuno doesn't live on a mountain. In fact, once in the post-game I went to Mount Freeze to try to looking for Articuno, only to realise it wasn't there. Oops. And there's some other allusions to dungeons we can't go to until post-game. And the Great Canyon, basically important lore places. One thing I've never really liked about Pokémon Mystery Dungeon though is that how every game doesn't try to have any kind of consistent lore. Every game just makes up its own stuff that doesn't really have any precedence in any other Pokémon canon. It's not so much in this game, it's more in later ones. Anyway, good morning, Indigo. Did you sleep well? Okay, this is it. Let's do our best and save Alakazam's team. Gardevoir said, she will tell me everything when this adventure is over. I know, I just watched that cutscene. Is going underground the adventure she meant? Will she tell me if we rescue Alakazam's team? Well, no actually, because this is episode 19 and we can't end the series on a prime number because that's just kind of weird and I don't like prime numbers. Hello! Like, to be honest, I really liked the introduction of the fairy type purely because it annoyed me that for years there was a prime number of types. Are you asleep still? Let's get going! Anyway, let's proceed to Magma Cavern. This must be it! Groudon is in this underground cavern. Well, look at the streams of lava. You're a fire type, it shouldn't bother you. It's going to be scorching hot in the dungeon, I think. Actually, that raises an interesting question. Can, like, a fire type Pokemon be, like, affected by heat? Because obviously, unless they have the ability to flash fire, they'll still take damage from fire type moves. It's just a resistance. Interesting thing for fanfic writers to think about. There should be other rescue teams making their way through even now, but we never get to see any because we can't be bothered to program them in. Let's try our best, like always. I always read that voice like Tails. I think I mentioned that in a previous video. Anyway, Magma Cavern. I've already gone over the fact that this is a mostly ground type dungeon, as we can see here with this Sandshrew. And for a while, Sandshrew was like my favourite Pokemon because I had a Sandslash I really liked using in White 2, which was incidentally the first Pokemon game where I actually used Pokemon other than my starter. And I even drew like a picture of a Sandslash and put it on my door once. So that was a thing. And this dungeon, to be honest, kind of looks dull. It looks too similar to Mount Blaze. And there's a Magma dungeon in Explorers of Time and Darkness, which looks a lot, which is really way more atmospheric because it has all these deep red colours. This dungeon does get deep red towards the end, as the entrance would suggest. It just looks a bit jarring to go from that to this. And my pre-planned topic for this video, recently I have been playing a lot of Smash Ultimate. And for years, something that's bothered me is that all the Pokemon stuff in Smash Bros has always felt phoned into me, but I couldn't really put a finger on why until someone on r/Mystery Dungeon made a thread about how Pokemon Mystery Dungeon wasn't in Smash Bros. When it just hit me that, like, the Pokemon Company tends to just, like, really ignore spin-offs, even though they sell well, and, like, Creatures was involved with some of them. Like, I saw someone say that the reason why there was a Detective Pikachu spirit in, well, Batman didn't last long, in, what's it called again? In Ultimate was because Creatures were involved in it. But that theory doesn't hold up because Creatures were already also involved with Shadows of Olmia. Not just Shadows of Olmia, just Pokemon Ranger in general. So it can't be that, and it obviously can't be illegal reasons because I'm sure the Pokemon Company would not hold the rights to all of the IP, and I saw someone say that the reason why there's a Detective Pikachu spirit is because it was an amiibo, which makes a lot more sense. But, like, there was a lot of other Pokemon stuff that felt fun in as well, like all the trophy descriptions in Brawl just kind of read like really boring Wikipedia Pokedex entries. They all grew to level 22, by the way. And they also, in the PAL version, for some reason, they capitalised all the Pokemon names, even though that's not an official spelling. It was clearly just a thing they did because it looked acceptable in the Game Boy era, and it took them ages to be bothered to change it. And also, there was another thing in the PAL version of Brawl that really bothers me, is that they call the section of Kirby trophies Kirby's Fun Pack, which, if you don't know, is Kirby Superstar's really stupid alternate title. And I think all this constant exposure to Kirby Superstar in Brawl really just is one of the reasons why I don't like that game, even if that's just more of a subconscious thing. But anyway, it's like literally the only representation of Pokemon spin-offs in Smash Bros is like the Detective Pikachu spirit, as I mentioned earlier. Mewtwo, not in Melee obviously, has a couple of alternate palettes that look like Shadow Lugia and Shadow Mewtwo. And there's 2 trophies from Snap in Melee, and that's literally it. And even though there's like representation of way more obscure games in Smash Bros, like Ever Oasis, that 3DS game that everyone complained wasn't Mother 3, even though Nintendo said it would be a new IP at E3 2016, and then it came out and everyone forgot about it. Although I liked Ever Oasis though. Though to be honest, I remember reading a review of it in an issue of a magazine, and then just like a couple of months later remembering that it came out. And for a while I actually thought it came out in September 2017 instead of July because of that. But please play Ever Oasis. But the point is, Ever Oasis got a couple of spirits and a couple of songs, which is more than most Pokemon spin-offs ever get. And also, I remember reading on the Smash Bros Dojo that one of the composers for Brawl had previously worked on Super Smash, had previously worked on Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Yoshi. I can't remember what his first name is, except that it begins and ends in A. I want to say it was Arata, but that's probably wrong. Please correct me in the comments. But the point is, and then that thread I read on Reddit kind of started getting me wondering what Pokemon Mystery Dungeon stuff could be in Smash Bros. And I was like thinking about my idea was like Dialga's fight to the finish or some other final boss theme. Because spoilers, that's spoilers for Explorers, by the way. Would be could be in music in that game, or I remember when Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon first came out, I saw someone say that the rock version of the regular boss theme should be in Smash Bros. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And of course, there's always hope for DLC. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But and someone else suggested making Eevee a fighter and use it to represent Pokemon Mystery Dungeon because of the way Pokemon is marketed. Changes in the way Pokemon is marketed means that Eevee will probably be in the next Smash Bros. Game if there ever is one. And a lot of people suggested Grovyle as a fighter. I was initially hesitant to the idea because I didn't really think non-Mystery Dungeon fans would really be able to tell oh hey, Grovyle's not just any old Pokemon, until I saw someone posted an article on Source Gaming that made me change my mind. And Batman stood on lava. First time that's happened in this Let's Play, I think. And he's also used up both of my Reviver Seeds, so if you get into a tight spot, I might end up sending him home. So why can't multi-hit moves just stop being used once they've defeated all the Pokemon in the line of sight? It's really annoying. And basically my theory as to why there's not much Pokemon spin-off stuff is because the Pokemon Company are so overprotective that they don't want Smash Bros. Or the public image of Pokemon to be anything other than its surface level. Notice how a lot of Pokemon stuff once I saw this video pointing out that lots of Power Rangers merchandise was targeted towards what they call millennials, i.e. 90s kids. And I saw someone in the comments point out that Pokemon was basically the same, where it's stuck in the rut that public perception of it is that it's some really stupid franchise, even though it isn't, because the really stupid bits were in the early days, because to be honest, there's a lot of weird stuff in the early Pokemon anime, making up the rules as they go along. I don't know if you've ever seen PokeSense, by the way. I might have seen this before, but I kind of stopped watching it when he made all the plot important episodes Patreon exclusive, with a couple of exceptions, like that one episode that that one time an episode was uploaded to YouTube for the first time in ages. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make here is that my theory is the Pokemon Company is so overprotective of Pokemon that they basically only want the public image of it to be at surface level for some stupid reason, which is weird because other big Nintendo franchises aren't like that. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I feel like Pokemon's become a bit homogenous recently, but that's a rant for another time. It involves Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon because I really do not like that game. I'd say it's my taboo game, but I don't hate it with every fibre of my being. There's a lot of stuff in that game which I just really annoys me. But it's not, I don't hate it in the same way that Sugar Conroy hates Sticker Star or Proton John hates Yoshi's New Island, which I almost called Yoshi's Story for a moment. Oops. But it's just kind of basically what I'm trying to say here is that the way Pokemon is presented in Super Smash Bros. Is a shame, and I wish it would change. They could even put something from the Ori games on there, since they technically count as main games, except not really. But and I'm just picturing the stage of Shadow Lugia as a background element, which would be really cool. And also, here's something cool about Dungeon is the tile set changes over time, and now it looks a bit more like the entrance, and I'm paralysed. Luckily, I got these cherry berries the first time I've used one, I think. I forgot that you had Metal Claw. Oh dear. Oh wait, I didn't hit, never mind. I'm not getting to wonder what the point of bringing Batman along even was, she said, as he grew to level 14. Because it's not like he's really fighting anyone, he's quite leveled for this point in the game, and I just kind of brought him along because I wanted to be different, basically. But I do really like Gaigar's design. By the way, unlike most Pokemon that vary between being pink and purple, I always prefer seeing Gligar as pink because that's the way I was introduced to it. Whereas I always like seeing the male Nidos and Ditto as purple because that's the way I was introduced to them through Heart Gold and Soul Silver, while I was introduced to Gligar through the anime, specifically Ash's one, obviously. And I used to think it had an extra claw on the end of its tail instead of a stinger as well. I also forgot you had Smoke Screen because I remember once turning off all of Pearl's moves except for Ember in one dungeon's out against the boss. I think it was Articuno. And also I think Gligar can learn Dig. I'm going to see what moves you have. I'm going to teach Batman Dig. Oh, wait, who has Dig? Oh, you have the Dig TM. I don't think it can now because it said the U's read it out, so I don't think it can, but that might just be because he was holding it. I'm going to check once this turn is over. Also, one thing I like is how in Gen 7 they nerfed Thunder Wave, so its accuracy is now 90 instead of 100, but they didn't nerf Glare, which is another move that causes paralysis, and also Glare affects ground types because it's a normal type move. And normal type starters moves still affect ghost type, so to cut a long story short, it has a wider range, basically. And yeah, it was just because Batman was holding it. You finally get your own stab move because you don't learn any by level up, because as I mentioned previously, every Pokemon had a rubbish moveset in Gen 3. And one thing that's annoying is that if a Pokemon faints some indirect damage, it won't actually give you any experience. So for Leech Seed and Poison Powder, and I was thinking that if I got Solar Beam TM, I'd replace Poison Powder because I honestly never use it, but I just never actually use either of my starters moves. Actually, I think the composer's name was Atara, not Arata Iyoshi. And I used to think he was a girl because I forgot that in Japanese the girls' names usually end in mi or ko. Not to be confused with a Miko, which is a kind of shrine maiden. And I've got Quick Dodger, which basically raises my evasion or evasiveness and will definitely be banned on Smogon. And I completely forgot that I had 2 other Reviver Seeds. Well, that's a relief. I'm going to check what Quick Dodger does. And not what it does, obviously know what it does, but I want to check what it's mutually exclusive with. Doesn't seem to be mutually exclusive with anything, except if it is, it's something that I don't actually need to use because it's one that affects the AI. But I'm just going to read the description anyway. It's exactly what I said it was. Duh. That reminds me, once when I was at primary school, the whole class was reading this book called Dodger, and literally everyone apart from me thought that was the main character's name, and it really annoyed me. Because we were doing about Victorian times, and that was a book which is basically like a more realistic version of Oliver Twist. And I think we actually watched a more realistic Oliver Twist movie, as in not the musical, around the same time as well. Because, as I just said, we were doing about Victorian times. I have never read the book, though. The only Charles Dickens book I've read is Christmas Carol, which I also had to do for school, but at a later time. And also, last night I had this really weird dream when we basically had this RE lesson about Japanese superheroes for some reason. And I specifically remember that my RE book was mint green. And I remember, I went to a lesson and then I remembered that I forgot my bag, so I went out somewhere else to get it. And then when I came back, I couldn't actually find the RE classroom because the school was like a maze and there was one corridor that was really dark and the school actually looked nothing like my actual school. It looked more like a shopping centre. And then I woke up and remembered that I don't actually do RE. So that was interesting. What kind of weird dreams have you had? Because the other day I read on Testillating Hexagons' Tumblr, I almost called it Dungula for some reason, that he had a dream where he played some weird Sonic fan game where he was watching a Let's Play of a Sonic fan game where there was a level that was a volcanic bakery, or sorry, a zone with acts in it because it's a Sonic game. Except Sonic CD, which has acts with rounds in them, because that's not confusing at all. I get it was made by a different group of people, but still. There was a time where I used to watch a lot of Sonic videos on YouTube, but was a bit too nervous to actually play a Sonic game. I tried playing Sonic Adventure twice, but it was someone else's copy and I really couldn't get very far because it was in like a public... Basically, there was a pub... I went camping once and there was like a place where you got to... they had like entertainment stuff and there was a couple of video games, but the first time I was too self-conscious to play it, and the second time there were a bunch of annoying kids surrounding me who kept complaining about me playing a single-player game. So I just didn't get very far, and I tried watching a Let's Play Sonic Unleashed, but I just got bored because I just can't get into Psycho's Let's Plays for some reason, because that's whose Let's Play I tried to watch. The guy who used to do glitch videos, and then he just fell off the face of the earth, basically. But this clip of, I leveled up, and his clip of two Magikarps fighting each other on Pokemon Stadium did get on to Great Moments in LPing, which is about the same number of things I've submitted to Great Moments in LPing that have actually gotten on there, which was also from a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, incidentally. It's the Marrowland one where he makes fun of Quagsire. And I didn't really think it was that funny, but I've already ranted about Great Moments in LPing in the past, so... Oh, by the way, in this dungeon, there's a chance of finding a buried item on the first floor, and in all my years of playing this game, I don't actually think I've ever uncovered one. And on the from the 2nd to 6th floors, you can find Kecleon shops. Bit too late for me to mention that, I just remembered it. There's an Arbok, and he used Leer on me, and then he just used rap. Am I good at singing? I really like doing the voices for characters, but sometimes I worry that they're annoying, but I do think I have quite a good singing voice. And I definitely need to use all of my max elixirs. And Pearl grew to level 23. It always annoyed me that like the characters level up at different rates, but I just remembered that I saw someone point out once that they're sort of tied into the characters' personalities and explorers, but that's not really the case here. You just level up at different rates because potatoes. Still catchphrases from other YouTubers. Did the Macargos here even actually know any fire-type moves? Because I'm surely it would have used one. And I always found it a bit weird how like there's a fire on its shell, even though it's supposed to be made of magma, which isn't the same thing, regardless of what video games tell you. And now remembering the Pokestins episode about the one where they have Ash does the one where Ash fights Blaine or whatever his name is, the fire type gym leader, and Jaren says that basically the arena is a volcano and it would instantly kill any fire types. And once again, I'm wasting bullet seeds. Yay! Even though obviously every chain of hits only takes up 1 HP, it's still annoying. And I almost took a U-turn. I'm glad I didn't. And I fear he's correct in this Macago probably don't know any fire type moves, but there is quite a lot of fire type Pokemon than Smog, which makes sense, but still, just something I noticed. It just seems more common in this game because, as I've mentioned, every Pokemon has a terrible move pool, except for like ones that are supposed to be really overpowered. And here's Rhydon. I remember when in Diamond I caught a Rhydon in the volcano outside of Stark Mountain, and they do know fire type moves after all, but they're not very dangerous. Okay then. I caught one a Rhydon outside of Stark Mountain, and it knew Horndrill, and I really liked using her. I think it was a her anyway. And then I deleted my Diamond pile because I got bored, including my level 100 Empoleon. So that was a thing that I did when I was younger. It's not as bad as that time when I decided to get rid of my first Nintendo for no reason other than I wanted to see what it did, and I cried really hard. And then I think I had this weird dream where I saw the dog again being walked by some random NPC. I think it might have been a dream, or maybe it was my imagination while I was awake, I don't actually know. Point is, I really liked Nintendogs when I was little because it was one of the first games I ever played. actually kind of like using Bullet Seed when there's like multiple enemies standing in a row, because then I can take out multiple at once. It's like a sniper. Which reminds me of this time I was playing Splatoon, and there was this one time this time I was playing Splatoon, and on the opponent's team there was this one person who kept standing in one place and sniping everyone who came past, and it was really annoying. Haven't played Splatoon in ages. I wonder if anyone's still playing. And here's the red gummy. Despite there not being many fire types in this dungeon, there is quite a lot of red gummies, and that reminds me of how red gummies are more common in Explorers of Darkness and the blue gummies are more common in Explorers of Time. So that's the thing. And also, Grimer's sprite in this game looks really weird. Like, I don't think its mouth is supposed to be, like, gaping like that. It looks like Anemon, that evolution of Ditto from the Gold and Silver Beta. My favourite Digimon. Also, since Namco Bandai was involved with Smash 4, in theory, they could have put Digimon into Smash Bros. But in practice, they probably wouldn't have, because Digimon is more remembered for its anime than its games anyway. So... But it's cool to think about, I guess. And there might also be rights issues, whatever. But also, like, basically the only episodes of Death Battle I've watched are both of the Pokemon versus Digimon ones. There was one against Lucario versus Renamon and Charizard versus Greymon, and the video was just called Pokemon versus Digimon because they just wanted to confuse us. And I talk really quickly. I wonder if there's any Pokemon in here that I've ever been able to recruit. Golem? Oh yeah, Golem is one of the fully evolved Pokemon which has a really low recruit rate. And there is a reason for this, but we'll get into why in the post-game. Just look at this thrilling gameplay. She says, finally defeating the opponent. I'm going to force you to use... And I was wrong. I'm going to force you to use Dig just to see what will happen, but as a precaution, I'm also going to give Parallel go after foes and only turn on Metal Claw, and I'm going to change your IQ so you exclusive move user, which still shouldn't be mutually exclusive with PP Checker, and then in what's it called again? And then in Explorers of Time and Darkness, they make it so that they're the same IQ skill, so I've gone over this before. Oh. And once again, and amazing how Batman's still intact, but I think his turn was already over anyway, so... But I honestly think that... I mentioned Never Oasis earlier, and I've just like been reminded of how you can switch between party members at any time, and any of the 3 members of your party at any time that are in the overworld. And it kind of reminds me how I think an action RPG format would be really good for like a Pokemon spin-off, not like Pokemon Rumble, like not a really watered down action RPG, just a regular action RPG. And I was worried that Batman's Dig might become redundant there, but it wasn't. We all got to take down that enemy, even if I did the least because I wanted Batman to have his turn to shine. Is there like a word for like when someone deliberately holds back so someone else can have a chance to shine? It's like Discord letting Fluttershy be the hero for once and the best gift ever, except not really, and I don't even know why I made that reference. And I forgot to take a Max Elixir, and I don't actually have any. Oops. I'm actually amazed I've survived this far though, but I'm worried I'm going to jinx myself by saying that. I think we're nearly at the end of the first half of the dungeon because, spoiler alert, there's a midpoint which is more like a almost at the end point, but still. Here's another Dig TM, as I just said. Dig is a very good move to use against the final boss of Explorers of Time and Darkness, by the way. I was about to say something a bit spoilery for Explorers of Time and Darkness there, but I interrupted myself, and Sky, obviously, because it's weak to ground, and I have officially ran out of damaging moves. Although, by the way, Fanpy apparently doesn't learn any ground type moves by level up, and I think it only learns Earthquake for TM. I don't even know if it actually learns Dig or not, but whatever. We're not playing Explorers of Time Darkness, we're playing Red Rescue Team. And Pearl grew to level 24. And for some reason, in like this part of the dungeon, which is even darker now, I always associate the parts of the dungeon that look like this with the time I was playing the game at the while I was waiting at the hairdressers. And back then, it was like the second time I played that game when my team was a Charmander with a Chikorita partner. But more on the second time I played this game in the next episode. And she learned non-sleeper, which means she can't be put to sleep, basically. It's insomnia, but it's an IQ skill. Don't know if it means it can't be self-inflicted sleep, but whatever. And I think I'm going to change Pearl's tactic because she's weak to most of the Pokemon here, so that would be that's not very good. And cringing is basically the game's version of flinching. It means a Pokemon can't attack, but they can make other movements. I forgot how long this dungeon actually was, but these low floors do look very good though. Like some of the most rich colours in the game after all the really bland, washed out colours. I get this is a Game Boy Advance game, but seriously, this was, as I said, this was near the end of the GBA's lifespan. They really could have done better. But the sprites still look good though. Most of them are reused in the Explorers of Time and Darkness. Some of them were recolored, and by most of them I mean all Pokemon sprites were reused, but whatever. Although Grimer does look a lot more blobby here than it does in any other medium I've seen. And once again, Batman stood on fire, or rather flew over magma, because that's not quite the same thing. That is an important distinction to make. I'm just going to use a Blast Seed and see what that does. I remember once I was worried about eating a Blast Seed because I thought it would hurt me, but thankfully it didn't. But eating Blast Seeds does more damage than throwing them, and then in Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon they randomly make Blast Seeds do like 100 damage because their game was really hard and they wanted to give you all the help they could get. There's a really one annoying thing about not Gates Super Mystery Dungeon. Did I say Gates Infinity by accident? If I did, then I meant Super. Is that if you like die in the dungeon, I might have already gone over this. Instead of like being sent back to the restore point, you have the option to either send out for rescue, where usually you'll have to rescue yourself if you have no friends and no Wi-Fi. And I rose to level 25. Well, I do have Wi-Fi, but it's just more convenient to do it yourself. And I'm not going to use Sweet Scent, lowest Pokemon's evasion. I can't believe you learn it at such a high level, Bulbasaur. But anyway, you either have to get rescued, and I usually just rescue myself because it's just quicker, because you can do that by basically playing as other teammates, or you go back to the last point you saved. But in some dungeons you can't get sent out for a rescue, so you basically just have to lose all the experience points you gained, which completely defeats the point of gaining those experience points in the first place, because the whole idea is that it's easier the next time you go through it because you're stronger. Have you never played an RPG Chunsoft? And then I realised that obviously it doesn't make sense because the whole point was it trying to be more like an old school RPG, but that's not what we come to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for. I think we're almost at the end of the first section of the dungeon. And there's Onyx. They're really huge, but don't worry, they die really easily because they have quad weaknesses. Although I've heard that type weaknesses don't stack in this game, so it will just take the same amount of damage from a grass type or water type move as it would from, say, a fighting type move. And we're not quite at the midsection yet, but I'm just gonna go down here because I just am too tired to really continue. Well, I'm not tired, but here's the middle point of the dungeon. So let's continue because the next section is like 3 floors long. And I just noticed that I've been recording this for over 40 minutes. Wow. And I accidentally completely aimed where I was, and I also completely accidentally faced diagonally. Let's see. I wonder where we are. I'm certain we've come quite far already. I don't really get what the point of this weird bit of a floor here. Why couldn't have this cutscene happened in the midsection? Wah! Quake! More milkshake. Whoa! It's over. The part that says woo quite a lot in this game. Hey, Indigo, over there! And I need to put my gamepad on charge. Hey, are you okay? Ugh. What happened to you? We challenged Groudon and wiped them out. I would like to imagine that Pearl idolises Charizard, by the way. Groudon? Ugh. It crushed us. That's right. What happened to Alakazam? Where is Alakazam? Where in the world is Alakazam San Diego? Alakazam is still battling Groudon. Indigo, we've got to hurry. And Pearl just walked over lava, which actually makes sense in this case, but for other Pokemon it wouldn't. Be careful. Told you this was short. It's Alakazam! Are you okay? Hang on a minute, why do I... That's another reason why that cutscene should have been set in the not the midsection, but the place with the Kangaskhan rock. Because, why weren't the team acts sent to the part with the Kangaskhan rock and no one sent to this random floor after being defeated? So it's you. Are you mad at us? Stay back. This opponent is no laughing matter. Here it comes. I was going to say that roar, but it disappeared too quickly for me to think about how to say it very well. Coming? Where? Roar! Alakazam! Alakazam is gone! Maybe. Was he defeated by an invisible force, apparently? Ugh, it's our turn next. But I'm not going down without a fight. Seriously, why did they put a raw sound effect in? They get a raw sound effect in Explorers of Time and Darkness, but not this game, it seems. Indigo, let's do our best. That really is the partner's catchphrase then. And here is Groudon. I'm just going to use Bullet Seed and see what happens. It barely does anything, wow. And I'm going to set Peril to go after foes. Thankfully, it doesn't know Earthquake as far as I know, and I might as well set Batman to go after foes as well. We've run out of Revive Seeds as far as I know, so that's right. I should set Bullet Seed, it's going to save me a lot of time. Reminds me of how speedrunners link all of their moves. And Ember, despite being powered up, also barely does anything, but he does know Mudshot. Also, are you going to do anything, Batman? No? Okay, then. Because I don't want Mudshot to just, like, OHKO Peril. That would be rather unfortunate. Oh, he's just going to use Slash, then. I don't actually think the bosses in this game have IQ skills, but they do in later games, and Groudon's already been defeated, and Batman grew to level 15. I thought he already was at level 15, but I must have been mistaken. Or maybe it's because I was at level 25, so I just like numbers ending in 5, I guess. Look, it's Alakazam, who we literally just saw. Why are you talking like we haven't seen them already? Charizard and Tyranitar too! Ugh! Because that's exactly what Tyranitar sounds like. Did you do it, Groudon? Are you okay? Yes, fine. We will be fine, but we must get out immediately. What about Groudon? Will it be okay? Your concern isn't needed. It will awaken soon enough. It had lost control only because it was enraged from having its sleep disturbed. By what? It should calm down. Probably an earthquake, but doesn't Groudon cause earthquakes? Wah! Another quake! Because earthquake is too long. Out. Quickly. Having calmed Groudon, Indigo's team left the dungeon and returned to Pokemon Square together with Alakazam's team. I do not want to save my adventure yet. And in the square, is Indigo's team almost here? Look, here they come. It's true, darlings. Let's go. And there's Phanpy again. And all these are random rescue teams. Great work, Indigo. You really took down that Groudon? Darlings, it's fantastic. You have won me over. And by the way, Octillery now sounds like G3 Rainbow Dash, which he always sounded like, but whatever. Whoa, wait a second. How does everyone know about what happened underground? Internet advertising, or rather, Pelipper spread the word with an extra edition of the Pokemon News. You bunch became stronger than I expected. That was very oddly enunciated. You can be proud of it. You lot did great. Why don't we team up sometime? Gahahaha! Who are you, Croc? You've earned everyone's respect now. Your team Salsa is a first-class rescue team, but we're still only bronze rank, I think? Take pride in that. Peril, Indigo. Indigo! This is great! Every bit of our effort, it was all worthwhile. Would you look at that? I didn't think someone that could take down Groudon would be such a crybaby. And again, cranky New Leaf villager laugh. Huh? What was that? I thought I heard something just for a moment. Did I just imagine it? No, I heard it too. Me too. Even now, I hear it. Someone talking? Not sure. Because Golem now sounds like the voice I was trying to give to Gengar. This voice! I've heard it before! This voice! I'm sure! That's it! It's Xatu! I have forgotten what voice I gave Xatu, but I think it sounded like Alakazam, so... Xatu. Ah, that's it. Telepathy. Xatu is calling out to us using telepathy. Yay for repeating yourself. To all Pokemon. Calling all Pokemon. Terrible it is. From the sky falls a star. I don't know why Xatu is talking like Yoda now, by the way. From the sky comes a star. You just said. It is huge. A giant of a star. The star, it falls straight to us. I wonder if they're calling it a star rather than like a meteor or a comet or whatever, because Pokemon wouldn't know those fancy science terms, or if it's just so they don't accidentally make a factual inaccuracy, because there is a subtle difference between every kind of falling space rock. Disasters in nature, they were many. The balance of the world, it has been upset. All because the star slowly comes closer. Yes, something from space was clearly affecting everything on a planet. This doesn't really make sense, but whatever. But that's a very nice panning shot. If it keeps coming, it will crash into this world. It shall be terrible. You don't say. Something must be done. Xatu, tell us. Can the falling star be stopped? There is a way. To prevent collision, there is but one solution. You must ask Rayquaza. Rayquaza? What might that be? A Pokemon living far above the sky. Legendary, it is. Rayquaza must be asked to describe the star from the sky, and by the way, I absolutely refuse to pronounce Rayquaza as Rayquaza, so that's it. However, far up in the sky lives Rayquaza. Few known by few and seen by none. The sky. How are we to go there? Alakazam and I amplify our teleport together and send Pokemon to the sky. However, the sky is a world above the clouds. What will become of the Pokemon sent to the sky? Even I can guess nothings. Then we'll do it! We'll go! I thought there could be none but you. But, are you sure? There's no telling what you would find in that world above the clouds. We expect danger! It's my wish that all Pokemon can live in peace. Peril, Indigo, do you hear? This is Zatu. Discuss we will, Alakazam and I, about how our teleport can be amplified. Departure it is tomorrow. Rest you should until then. Last word, dangerous will be your adventure, but fail you must not. Suppress yourselves. No problem, we'll be fine. Right, Indigo, let's get it done. Next time on my extremely riveting Let's Play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team, we shall be preparing to go to the sky and then actually going to the sky. Until then, stay interesting!